We belong. And we are broadcasting from Maynard, just about, a few miles outside of the city of Austin. We appreciate all of you who are able to come and watch, participate on our Bible studies. If you would like to do me a favor, I would appreciate it much, and that is just click on the like button so I can kind of get an idea how many people are watching us tonight.
Yeah.
That would be a good thing. And otherwise, we don't really know how many are watching us online because they register by the click anymore because there's a number of people that are maintaining their privacy so it doesn't show the total quantity watching. So just click on like and then I'll know how many coming. Well, tonight's Torah Parsha is a heartbreaker.
It is.
I cry about this Parsha every time I see it because God gave them an opportunity to go into the land of Canaan early.
Yeah.
And to receive the blessings of being in the land. And they chose not to take it. And God was very upset with them. We'll be reading that plus a few more things tonight from the Torah. And I'm praying and hoping that many of you watching will not be as they were. And when God gives you an opportunity to receive your blessings, that you will say yes, sir, and reach out and take those blessings. Because he hates it when we doubt him. So please don't disappoint him that way as the children of Israel did coming out of the land of Egypt. Father, we're coming together today to study your word. To try to learn what pleases you and what displeases you. What makes you angry and what doesn't. Because we care about you, and we don't want to make you angry, but we want to make you happy. We want you to be a Shelah. Your sacred name you first gave to Moses. I be happy, I be. And that's what we want for you. And we know that when your children come to you and call upon your name and trust you, that's what makes you happy. Thank you, Lord. So we're going to study tonight, and I ask you to send your spirit upon us to help us to understand what we're reading. Lord, show us if we are doing anything that's displeasing to you, so we'll be able to correct that and to make it right with you.
Amen.
Everybody say, Lord, I'm hungry.
Lord, I'm hungry.
I ask you to feed me tonight.
I ask you to feed me tonight.
That's why I came here.
That's why I came here, Lord.
I'm thirsty too, Lord.
I'm thirsty too, Lord.
I ask you to give me living water.
I ask you to give me living water.
So I have plenty to pour out on others.
I have plenty to pour out onto others.
In the name of Messiah Yeshua.
In the name of Messiah Yeshua.
Amen.
Amen.
Baruch Hashem. You may be seated. We're going to start off at Numbers 13, beginning verse 1. Yahweh said to Moshe, send men on your behalf to tour the land of Canaan. The Hebrew word there is tour. I think that is so cool because we can relate some of these words directly to our language because our language comes originally in that sense from Hebrew in that context. He says, the land which I'm giving the people of Israel, from each ancestral tribe sends someone who is a leader in his tribe. Moshe dispatched them from Paran Desert as Yahweh had ordered, and all of them were leading men among the people of Israel. Here were their names: I'm going to read a few of these names. I'm going to ask you to get your Bible and a Strong's Exhaustive Concordance out and go through these names and see what the roots of the words are that were used to name these children of Israel. And if you'll do that, you'll find out that the name of the person who was sent to tour or spy the land is the primary first important point that they carried with them on this mission. And then the name of their father was the secondary important point. You can derive their character, their nature, by looking at the roots of these words that are put together for these names. And then the third and final important point or factor in their names is the tribe name that they came from. Now, as they were going forth to tour the land, we see that there are a couple of very important names in here that were along with the other spies. For example, Caleb, he's the son of son of Yephuneh, the tribe of Jehudah. What does Jehudah mean? Praise. And Caleb, let me go ahead and get into that. Okay, so most of these things you're going to have to work just a little bit, but boy, will your study explode if you do it. Caleb. Okay, Caleb is from the Hebrew word which means dog. Now, a dog can be a good friend to you or he can be a foe to you. You don't want to be the kind of a dog that's a foe. In this case, Caleb was more like the little puppy dog, the house dog that we all have around our houses, and we give them little treats and they do tricks for us and cause us to giggle and laugh and have a good time. Kind of restores our heart and nature as a child, doesn't it? He was the son of Jephuneh. Jephuneh is from older previous root was, let me get it up here. Means he'll be prepared. Panah means to turn or to face. That's a characteristic of Caleb that went with the tribes to explore the land. So you can see that his face was turned towards going in and taking the land of Canaan. He said, we can do this. Let's don't delay. Let's go in and take it. God's given us this land. If God be for us, who can be against us? So that was the nature of Caleb's heart, was to just go ahead, jump in there, and obey God. I'm going to go down and look at a couple more names here. Here we have in verse 5, from the tribe of Ephraim, Hoshea. Hoshea is tied in with, it means Savior. Come on now, just cooperate with me, Bible. Hosea. Deliverer. Uh-huh. To be safe. Causatively, to be free or succor. Succor meaning to build them up and give them strength and help. So this is son of Nun. You know what Nun means? Oh, yeah, you do. Dog is fish, dear. In Aramaic, Nun means fish. It means to propagate, to be perpetual. Maybe you didn't know that one. I don't know. I guess not. From the tribe of Benjamin, we have Palti being Raful. Palti means delivered, and Raful, he's the son of Raful. That means something special. Do you know what Raful would be? Rapha? Rapha means healer. The healer. So there's some really interesting and significant names that were there among the ones who went in to explore the land and to stand on behalf of Moses. I noticed one here. One of the names of the men went was a relative of Susi. Susi, you know what that means? Horse. Sus means horse. In fact, there it is in verse 11. Gadi ben Susi. It was Manasseh's offspring. Dan, of the tribe of Dan, we have Amiel, the people of God, son of Gamali. Does anybody know what Gamal means? You're going to like this. Means camel driver. Yeah, Gimel means camel driver. Well, the Gimel on the front of the name looked like a cowboy boot, doesn't it?
Yeah, sort of, yeah.
Wouldn't you know that a camel driver would need cowboy boots to get around all the little extras that come along with a camel? So these are the people that were selected to go in with the scouting party that was going to reconnoiter the land or spy out the land of Canaan. And Moses called to Hosea, son of Nun. He calls him Yehoshua, which means Yah saves. Moses sent them into the land to spy out the land and said unto them, Alu, go up. Zeh, this direction. But Negev means and in the south, into the mountain, Hahor. And Uritam, and see the land, what it is, and the people that dwells there, whether they are Hazak, they're strong, see it's translated here, strong, and or if they are weak and few in number, or many. So he's wanting to know if these people are going to be a serious problem for them when they come into the land. What is the land that they dwell in? If it's good or it's bad, and what cities, what they dwell in tents or in, get that one up here, in strongholds. Whether the land is fat or if it be lean. If it's fat, then it's strong, and if it's lean, then it's not going to be very good at defending itself. And it says, "Vahit chazaktam." We know that word, don't we? Chazak is strong. And if you put and heath chazaktem, that means you be of good courage, and bring the fruit of the land. Now the time was the time of the first ripe grapes. I think I'll go on and do the Complete Jewish Bible by Dr. Stern. When they left, it was the season of the first ripe grapes. They went up and reckonered the land from Sin Desert to the Rehov, near the entrance to Hamat. And they went up to the Negev and arrived at Hebron, Achiman, Sheshai, and Talmai. And Anakim lived there. Hebron was built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. They came to the Eshcol Valley, where they cut off a branch bearing one cluster of grapes. Eshcol there means grapevine. And they carried it on a pole between two of them. That's an awful large cluster of grapes that they had to carry it on a pole between two of them. They carried it between the two of them, and they also took pomegranates and figs, that place which was called the Valley of Eshcol, that means the cluster, because of the cluster which the people of Israel cut down there. 40 days later, boy, that number shows up a lot in the stories, doesn't it? 40 days later, they returned from reckoning the land and went to Moses, Aaron, and the entire community of the people of Israel at Kadesh in the Paran Desert, where they brought back word to them, to the entire community, and showed them the fruit of the land. What they told was this: we entered the land where you sent us. Indeed, it does flow with milk and honey. Here is its fruit. However, the people living in the land were fierce, and the cities are fortified with very large walls. Moreover, we saw the Anakim there. The Anakim in the areas of the Negev. I believe what's meant here, I'm not sure, but the people that we saw there were like the Anakim, but all the Anakim died in the flood. So that there were people who were big and tall and strong like they were, the Anakim. Amalek lives in the area of the Negev. The Hitti, the Yebusi, the Emori live in the hills. And the Canaanite live by the sea and alongside the Jordan. Caleb silenced the people around Moses and said, we ought to go up immediately and take possession of it. See, there's that little puppy dog trusting love of God and of Moses. There is no question we can conquer it, not in his mind. Well, that reminds me of Hazak when I tell him, let's go for a ride in the truck. Boy, he gets excited. And the land we passed through in order to spy it out was a land that devours its inhabitants. All the people we saw there were giants. We saw the Nephilim, the descendants of Anak. See, there you are. Nephilim were those that died in the flood. Anak, who was from the Nephilim. To ourselves, we look like grasshoppers, and by comparison, we look like that way to them too. This is all the people of Israel. At this, all the people of Israel cried out in dismay and wept all night long. Oh, we're going to die. Moreover, all the people of Israel began grumbling against Moses and Aaron. The whole community told them, we wish we had died in the land of Egypt, or that we had died here in the desert. Why is Adonai bringing us to this land where we will die by the sword? Our wives and our little ones will be taken as booty. Wouldn't it be better for us if we returned to Egypt? And they said to each other, let's appoint a leader to return to Egypt. I don't think they pay much attention, do they? Why did God take them south of the Philistine territory to cross over the Red Sea where it was impossible?
So they wouldn't fear it, because they would have turned back.
Right.
Doesn't it say so they would not turn back?
Yep, that's exactly right. Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before the entire assembly of the community of the people of Israel. Yehoshua the son of Nun and Caleb son of Yephuneh from the detachment that had reconnoitered the land, tore their clothes, and said unto the whole assembly, the community of Israel, the land we passed through in order to spy it out is an outstandingly good land. If Yahweh is pleased with us, then he will bring us into the land and give it to us, a land flowing with milk and honey. Just don't rebel against Yahweh, and don't be afraid of the land, of the people living in the land. We will eat them up. And their defense has been taken away from them, and Yahweh is with us. Don't be afraid of them. Yahweh Roe. But just as the whole community were saying they should be stoned to death, the glory of Yahweh appeared in the tent of the appointments to the people of Israel. Yahweh said to Moses, how much longer is this people going to treat me with contempt? How much longer will they not trust me, especially considering all the signs I have performed among them? I'm going to strike them with sickness and destroy them and make from you a nation greater and mightier and stronger than they are. However, Moshe replied to Yahweh, when the Egyptians hear about this, and they will, because it was from among them that you, by your strength, brought this people up. They will tell the people living in the land, they have heard of that you, Yahweh, they've heard that you, Yahweh, are with this people, and that you, Yahweh, are seen face to face with your cloud stands over them, that your cloud stands over them, and you go ahead of them in the column of cloud by day and a column of fire by night. If you kill off this people at a single stroke, then the nations that have heard of your reputation will say that the reason Yahweh slaughtered this people in the desert is that he wasn't able to bring them into the land which he swore to give them. So now please let Yahweh's power be as great as when you said, Yahweh is slow to anger, rich in grace, forgiving offenses and crimes, and yet not exonerating the guilty, but causing the negative effects of the parents and offenses to be experienced by the children and even by the third and fourth generation. Please forgive the offenses of this people according to the greatness of your grace, just as you have borne with us, this people, from Egypt until now. Yahweh answered, I have forgiven as you have asked, but as sure as I live, that the whole earth is filled with the glory of Yahweh, none of the people who saw my glory and the signs I did in Egypt and in the desert, yet tested me these 10 times and did not listen to my voice, none of them will see the land I swore to their ancestors. None of these who treated me with contempt will see it. But my servant Caleb, because he had a different spirit with him, has fully followed me. Him I will bring into the land he entered, and it will belong to his descendants. Now since the Amaleki and the Canaanite are living in the valley, tomorrow turn around and get yourselves into the desert along the way of the Sea of Suf. Yahweh said to Moses and Aaron, how long am I have to put up with this evil community who has been who keep grumbling about me? I have heard the complaints of the people of Israel, which they have continued to raise against me. Tell them this, as surely as I live, Yahweh swears, as surely as you have spoken in my ears, I will do this to you. Your carcasses will fall in the desert, every single one of you who were included in the census over the age of 20. You have complained against me, will certainly not enter the land about which I raised my hand to swear that I would have you live in it, except for Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Yehoshua son of Nun. But your little ones you say would be taken as booty, them I will bring in, and they will know the land you have rejected. But your carcasses will fall in this desert, and your children will wander around in the desert for 40 years, being the consequences of your prostitutions, until the desert eats up your carcasses. It will be a year for every day you spent reckoning the land, that you will bear the consequences of your offenses, 40 days and 40 years. 40 days, 40 years, then you will know what it means to oppose me. I, Yahweh, have spoken. Not very happy, is he? I will certainly do this to this whole evil community who have assembled together against me. They will be destroyed in this desert and die there. The men whom Moses had sent to reconnoiter the land, when they had returned, made the entire community complain against him by giving him unfavorable report about the land. Those men who gave the unfavorable report about the land died by the plague in the presence of Yahweh. Of the men who went to reconnoiter the land, only Yehoshua son of Nun and Caleb son of Jephunneh remained alive. Then Moses told these things to all the people of Israel. The people felt great remorse. They arose early the next morning and came up to the top of the mountain and said, here we are. We did sin, but now we'll go up to the place Yahweh promised. Moses answered, why are you opposing what Yahweh has said? You won't succeed. Don't go up there, because Yahweh isn't with you. If you do, your enemies will defeat you. And the Amalekim and the Canaanite are there ahead of you, and you will be struck down by the sword. and the reason will be that you have turned away from following Yahweh, so that Yahweh will not be with you. But they were presumptuous and went on up towards the high parts of the hill country, even though the ark of the covenant of Yahweh and Moses stayed in the camp. So the Amalekim and the Canaanite living in that hill country descended and struck them down and beat them back all the way to Hormah. Well, they thought they could just go on up there and kick butt anyway, you know. Yahweh said to Moses, "Tell the people of Israel, when you have come into the land you are going to live, which I am giving you, and want to make an offering by fire to Yahweh, a burnt offering or a sacrifice, to fulfill a special vow, or to be a voluntary offering, or at your designated times to make a fragrant aroma for Yahweh, then whether it comes from the herd or from the flock, the person bringing the offering is to present Yahweh with a grain offering consisting of 2 quarts of fine flour mixed with 1 quart of olive oil, and 1 quart of wine for the drink offering. This is what you're are to prepare with the burnt offering for each lamb sacrificed." Moses answered, "Why are you opposing Yahweh, what Yahweh said? You won't succeed." I thought we just read that.
Yeah. No, you did. It went back up.
Oh, it went up?
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, yeah. I hit the wrong button. I hit the up button instead of the down button. The person bringing the offering is to present Yahweh with a grain offering consisting of 2 quarts of fine flour mixed with 1 quart of olive oil, 1 quart of wine for the drink offering, and that is what you are to prepare with the burnt offering for each lamb sacrificed. For a ram, prepare 1 gallon of fine flour mixed with 1 1/3 quarts of olive oil, while for the drink offering you are to present 1 1/3 quarts of wine as a fragrant aroma for Yahweh. When you present as a burnt offering, as a sacrifice to fulfill a special vow, or as a peace offering for Yahweh, there is to be presented with the bull a grain offering of 1.5 gallons of fine flour, mixed with 2 quarts of olive oil for the drink offering. Present 2 quarts of wine for an offering made by fire, a fragrant aroma for Yahweh. Do it this way for each bull, ram, male, lamb, or kid. As for as many animals as you prepare, do this for each one, regardless of how many animals there are. Every citizen is to do these things in this way when presenting an offering made by fire as a fragrant aroma for Yahweh. If a foreigner stays with you, or whoever may be with you through all of your generations, and he wants to bring an offering made by fire as a fragrant aroma for Yahweh, he is to do the same for you. For this community there will be the same law for you as for the foreigner living with you. This is a permanent regulation through all your generations. The foreigner is to be treated the same way before Yahweh as yourselves. The same Torah and standard of judgment will apply to both of you and the foreigners living with you. Yahweh said to Moses, "Speak to the people of Israel and tell them, when you enter the land where I am bringing you, and eat the produce of the land, you are to set aside a portion as a gift for Yahweh. Set aside from your first dough a cake as a gift. Set aside as you would set aside a portion of the grain for the threshing floor. From your first dough you will give Yahweh a portion as a gift through all your generations. If by mistake you fail to observe all these mitzvot that Yahweh has spoken to Moses, yes, everything that Yahweh has ordered you to do through Moses from the day Yahweh gave the order and onward through your generations, then if it was done by mistake, the community and was not known to them. The whole community is to offer one young bull for a burnt offering as a fragrant aroma to Yahweh, with its grain offering and drink offerings, and keep with the rule, and the one male goat as a sin offering. The Kohen is to make atonement for the whole community of the people of Israel, and they will be forgiven, because it was a mistake. They have brought their offering, an offering made by fire, to Yahweh, and their sin offering before Yahweh for their mistake. The whole community of the people of Israel will be forgiven. Likewise, the foreigner staying with them, because for all the people it was a mistake. If an individual sins by mistake, he is to offer a female goat in its first year as a sin offering. The Kohen will make the atonement for Yahweh. For the person who makes a mistake by sinning inadvertently, he will make an atonement for him, and he will be forgiven, no matter whether he is a citizen of Israel or a foreigner living with them. You are to have one law for whoever it is that does something wrong by mistake. But an individual who does something wrong intentionally, whether he be a citizen or a foreigner, is blaspheming Yahweh. That person will be cut off from his people, because he has contempt for the word of Yahweh and has disobeyed his command. That a person will be cut off completely. His offense will remain with him. While the people of Israel were in the desert, they found a man gathering wood on Shabbat. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Go ahead.
What is, when it says community, is it talking about just a small group or a whole nation?
The whole nation.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So they found a man gathering wood on Shabbat. Those who found him gathering wood brought him to Moses, to Aaron, and to the whole congregation. They kept him in custody because it had not yet been decided what to do with him. Then Yahweh said to Moshe, "This man must be put to death. The entire community is to stone him to death outside the camp." So the whole community brought him outside the camp and threw stones at him until he was dead, as Yahweh had ordered Moses. Yahweh said to Moshe, "Speak to the people of Israel, instructing them to make through all their generations tzitziot, the tzitzit in the corners of the garments, and put with the tzitzit on each corner a blue thread." That's the techelet. In Hebrew, it's called techelet. It is to be a tzitzit for you to look at and thereby remember all of Yahweh's commandments and obey them, so that you won't be around wherever your own heart or your eyes lead you to prostitute yourselves. Why did he tell us to put the blue techelet in the corners with the tzitzit? So that we would see it and not prostitute ourselves to the other gods around. Some people take this literally, and they say you should wear the prayer shawl with the tzitzit and the techelet to remind you not to commit adultery. But it's actually talking about adultery with other gods, deities of the lands around you. Leave it in your own heart to judge it, but I think it means both. Notice verse 40, "It will help you to remember and obey all of my mitzvot and be holy for your God. I am Yahweh, your God."
Rabbi, and it says people. It means all genders.
"Speak to the people of Israel, instructing them to make throughout their generations tzitzit on the corners of their garments." Yep. and put with the tzitzit on each corner a blue thread, a techelet. It is to be a tzitzit for you to look at and thereby remember all of Yahweh's mitzvot to obey them, so that you won't go around wherever your own heart and eyes lead you and to prostitute yourselves. But it will help you to remember and obey my commandments and be holy for your God. I am Yahweh your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt in order to be your God. Wonder why they don't wear the blue techelet in their prayer shawls today.
Who's they? Is that Israel? The rabbis?
The Orthodox Jewish community does not put, for the most part, they do not put the techelet in the corners of their garments.
And they don't put the blue strands like the
Their excuse is that they don't know for sure what the exact color of techelet is. But it's a lie. The people of Israel have for many centuries known which sea creatures yielded the techelet blue they put into the corners of the garments.
What is it, sapphire or deep blue or?
Well,
I'm just asking, well, what color is it?
it's more of a sky blue. Can you zoom in on this tzitzit? I'm trying to get it where you can see it. My shirt's normally white, but it's blue today, and so it kind of washes out the techelet. There we are. Well, why is this thing moving around on me? I guess I'm moving it and you're moving it.
No, I'm not moving it.
Okay, right there it is. So you can see that the blue in there is kind of a little bit more like a light sky blue. So, what? Oh, okay. Well, anyway, you can see that now. I'm going to go ahead and put it away now. So, we have to be careful not to make excuses for disobedience. Well, I've got a secret. I'll tell you when we're not on the air, when we're not streaming. Because then it won't be a secret any longer, right? So, we are about to enter into some of the biggest, beautiful blessings of God. And I think that's all I'm going to say about it for now. Okay? But this is an amazing time. And God is going to open up the windows of heaven for us because we are Zion and He named us. And He loves Zion. He loves me. He loves you. All of us who are trying our best to be obedient to His commandments, He sees that. And He likes it. So just be watching. It's going to be pretty good. Pretty amazing. I'd like to encourage all of you watching online to get your Stern New Testament, complete Jewish Bible, and look at the Brit Hadashah readings for the Parsha Shelah, the Messianic Jews, which is Hebrews chapter 3, verses 7 through 19. It goes along with those readings. Well, I guess that's about it. We're out of time here unless somebody has a question. No? Either I'm a great teacher or you are great students. Maybe both. All right, then.
Did we read all of it?
Yeah.
Until 15?
Next Tuesday, we will be studying Korach, Oi Gewalt. Can anybody say Oi Gewalt? God help us all that we do not end up like he was and his followers. It'll be Rosh Chodesh.
Yes, it'll be Rosh Chodesh, the beginning of the 4th month of the biblical calendar. Yay!
Well, y'all come and join me again next week for another exciting adventure in the Torah.
Amen.
Okie dokie.
All right.
Until next time, shalom, shalom.
Thank you for joining us for another delightful evening of our Torah and Customs class. We want to welcome you back to our weekly Shabbat services, one of Yahweh's commandments to convocate. And that will begin Saturday morning at 10 a.m., followed by our 11 a.m. main service with worship, liturgy, and another teaching. And do remember, if you have any questions in the meantime, please contact us at 512-452-8700. Or you can email the rabbi at asktherabbi@tzion.org. We'll see you next time. Shalom, shalom.